What in the name of Satan's Toast Track were the 20 finest songs that Dio released during their 28-year run? I'm going to tell you my own top 20 list in order with a number one and everything, and then you and I can get down in comments and bicker in a polite fashion. Now, Dio have always been one of my very favourite traditional metal bands. For me, in that whole arena, it's them and Judas Priest. Founded in 1982 by Ronnie James Dio after he left Black Sabbath, Dio, the band, went on to record 10 studio albums before Ronnie's sad and untimely passing in 2010. I'm so glad and grateful that I got to interview the great man for Kerrang magazine around the time of the band's 1993 album Strange Highways. There's one track from that album on this list, by the way. I wonder what it might be. Now, here are 5 things you need to know about this top 20 list and which may well pique your interest. There's a distinct possibility that your favourite Dio song is not on this list. I apologise in advance. Sorry, not sorry. The top 10 half of the list features one song from the Dream Evil album. One of the songs in the top 20 was a CD-only track upon release. There are as many songs in this whole list from Dream Evil as there are from the debut album Holy Diver. And lastly, one song on this whole list was never released on any studio record. I know, but enough babbling, into the top 20, straight in there. We're off to the witch. Born on the Sun. This song is from the Lock Up the Wolves album, and it's a weird one, Born on the Sun, because I must admit, as a song, as a whole song, it's not perfect. When it starts off, it's very ploddy. It's probably the most slow burn a Dio song has ever been in terms of getting to the point. But then when the chorus comes along, it elevates the whole song so much. I think it's a fantastic chorus. The song Hey Angel from the same album, Lock Up the Wolves, could also have been in this top 20 spot, but Born on the Sun just clinched it. Evil Eyes is next, from the Last in Line album. Although Evil Eyes must have first been recorded during the Holy Diver sessions, the first album sessions, because it's actually on the B-side of the Holy Diver single in a different version. However, the version on the Last in Line, I think, is a lot better. It's a lot more dynamic, especially towards the end of the song. And it's just a classic. It's a great Dio song with classic Dio chugging guitars. Evil Eyes, what's not to like? Here's the first song on this list from the Sacred Heart album, and it certainly won't be the last, Fallen Angels. Now, this is a song that I hardly ever see mentioned anywhere. It's I think it's generally regarded as like a filler track or something. In general, I have a really high opinion of the Sacred Heart album, and you know, there's lots of great songs on there, lots of great songs, including songs like Fallen Angels with its great big dirty filthy riff, which, you know, doesn't really get the credit it deserves in my opinion. So that's why it's on this list, and hopefully you might give it a listen on Spotify or indeed on your Sacred Heart album that you have on your shelf and go, oh yeah, that's pretty good. I'll be saying this about at least 2 more Sacred Heart songs, by the way, so stay tuned. Jesus, Mary and the Holy Ghost. Now here's a really interesting Dio track. I was so excited when I heard this song opening the Strange Highways album back in 1993 because it was so unlike what you'd expect to hear from Dio. It really felt like Dio had kind of got themselves out of just a slight creative rut that had started to set in. It starts with this really heavy riff which kind of sounds like Dio but with a different production and a different level of kind of cranked up intensity, and the lyrics are great, very, as you can gather from the title, the lyrics are very religious, and I think Ronnie told me that those lyrics were about how very intimidating religious imagery can be for children. It's a really good song, Jesus, Mary and the Holy Ghost, and it really helped take Dio into the 90s. Here's our first track from Dream Evil, another album which I love. Faces at the Window is our first entrant on this list. I love this song. A lot of people might consider this song to be filler, and that's fine, obviously. That's their opinion, although, of course, they are wrong. Faces in the Window is a great kind of up-tempo galloping beast with quite creepy lyrics. You know, the title's quite creepy, isn't it? Faces in the Window. And it's just about sort of human fear, I think, of the unknown. But it's great, and I love the guitar solo. The guitar solo is one of the best Dio solos, I think. Another song from Lock Up the Wolves, But this song was only on the CD edition, the original CD edition, at least in the UK. I don't know about anywhere else. I'd like to hear from you, actually, if you're elsewhere in the world and this track was on the vinyl or the tape editions of Lock Up the Walls. I'm talking, of course, about Why Are They Watching Me? Now, this song is great. It's such a shame that it was only restricted to the CD release. Maybe it was the record company wanting to put such a great song only on CD to encourage more CD sales. I don't know exactly, but I think it's the best song on the album. It's got a really creative feel to it. It's got a really heavy riff. The production is really good on this song. And it's also got a few unusual things. It feels like the band went the extra mile with this one, including there's a riff that comes in the middle just before the guitar solo, and that's quite unusual for a Dio song. So again, it feels like they were thinking a little bit outside the box. Great lyrics too, great kind of paranoid lyrics there from Ronnie. The Last in Line. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be shocked that The Last in Line isn't higher up this list, but let's put it into perspective. All the songs on this list are great. I love pretty much all Dio songs, but I just happen to like 13 Dio songs more than The Last in Line. But yeah, The Last in Line is a classic. I think the best thing about The Last in Line is that it feels enormous. That riff, and especially when combined with the keyboards from Claude Schnell, I always picture that riff as like towering spires right above you. You know, it's like a massive vista, and the album cover really kind of helps you imagine that. Yeah, The Last in Line is great. And of course it includes the immortal line, "We're off to the witch." I don't know what that means. I've never known what that means, but I love it so much. Another track from Dream Evil, namely Naked in the Rain. Yes, remember that? Yeah, one of the most atmospheric Dio songs. It's really nicely textured, and I first heard this song, I think this was the first song, in fact I know it was the first song that I heard from Dream Evil, courtesy of Tommy Vance's Friday Rock Show. It was the first track that Tommy chose to play from the album, and it seemed so different from Sacred Heart, which I love so much, and yet it was also just wonderful. It really felt like a new kind of Dio was about to arrive, and it did, of course. Great lyrics from Ronnie on Naked in the Rain too. Next up, you knew this one had to arrive on the list sooner or later. It's Stand Up and Shout. Yes, the perpetual opening song of almost any Dio setlist, Stand Up and Shout. Now, in fairness, again, as with The Last in Line, I'm sure this song might be in your top 10. And maybe on another day or week or month it might have been in mine. But I also think Stand Up and Shout might be one of those songs that kind of you lose sight of it after a while because you've heard it so much. I mean, again, context. Top 12. I love the song. It's in the top 12 of Dio songs for me. Yeah, it's a doozy, isn't it? Stand Up and Shout. Yes. Number 11. Now, this might be a bit controversial because the later Dio albums generally aren't so well regarded, but I certainly love a lot of stuff on there, and there are tracks actually from Magica that, like Lord of the Last Day, that almost made this list. But this song is Killing the Dragon, the title track of an album called, funnily enough, Killing the Dragon. Yeah, that's a shocker, isn't it? Killing the Dragon is a brilliant, strident, sword-wielding bastard of a song. It's great. It's the opening track, and it's just really good. It's kind of Ronnie at his best, just, you know, really nailing it with an opening song. Right, we're halfway through the list. What is going to be in the top 10? High Speed at Night from the Last in Line album. Now, this song, it really is apt that it has speed in the title because it is surely the fastest Dio song ever. Not just in terms of the drumming tempo, but it's definitely the fastest Dio song in terms of Vivian Campbell's light speed riffing. He really is riffing like a demon throughout this entire song. It's mad. And yeah, what a great song. And it's basically Ronnie talking about how he likes to drive his car around very fast at night. Yeah, brilliant. Next up is another track from Sacred Heart. And again, another track that other people may have overlooked. I don't know, maybe you love it. I want to hear from you down in comments either way. Like the Beat of a Heart. I love Like the Beat of a Heart. Unlike some other Dio songs that start off slightly ploddy, it has to be said, Like the Beat of a Heart just storms in with this big stomping kind of robot riff, and I punched the table there. I was so excited. Apologies for that. It's got great lyrics. It's got a great bridge about this beast that lives inside you. Yeah, it's great. and it ends with a brilliant riff that is kind of like this looping, really heavy riff. It's probably my favourite slow Dio song. I mean, it's not that slow, but it's pretty slow. Next up is another song from Sacred Heart. Again, another song that I think hardly gets the time of day. And actually, it has day in the title. It's Just Another Day. What a great song. It starts with this brilliant chugging riff. It's really heavy. It's a very simple riff, but it's just a really powerful, direct song. It's one of the heaviest Dio songs, I think. And great lyrics from Ronnie about self-centered people, I think. That's my interpretation anyway. And if you haven't heard Just Another Day, then make a note maybe if you fancy to have a look on your Spotify or your Sacred Heart album to give it another go. Okay, we're getting there now. Night People, the opening track on the Dio Evil album. I love Night People so much. I love the very start of it. It's the best use of a keyboard I think I might have ever heard on a metal song. It's just kind of like 1, 2, 3, 4 stabs of a keyboard before the guitars and drums and bass kick in. And then Ronnie's lyrics are great. There are hardly any real riffs in Night People, really. It's kind of just backing guitar, very fast backing guitar. But it's the lyrics that really make it. They're so evocative, with Ronnie starting off asking whether the listener likes the night. And do you like the way it moves? Do you come alive when neon kills the sun? Yeah, I mean, great lyrics. It really is Ronnie at his lyrical best, and, you know, at the height of his vocal powers as well. Night People absolutely rocks. We're back at the Sacred Heart album, and I think this song choice will probably find less opposition from people. Well, I imagine so anyway. It's Hungry for Heaven. Now, Hungry for Heaven, in my opinion, is kind of like the perfect, as David Brent might say, the perfect meld of commercial and heavy for Dio, because it's got a really commercial bridge and chorus, but the verses are really heavy with that, again, that patented Dio chug. A classic song, an absolutely classic commercial heavy song. It's everything all at once. As with a lot of Dio songs, I must admit I don't really know what the title actually refers to, because Hungry for Heaven kind of suggests that you want to die, but the rest of the lyrics don't really fit with that. So I don't know. Most Dio songs, I don't understand particularly what they're about, but the lyrics are so very evocative and so powerful and just so much fun that it's just impossible not to go along with them. Aha, now we get to the song that I told you about at the start, the song that's in the top 5 and yet was never released on any Dio studio album, and that song is Time to Burn. Yeah, Time to Burn first appeared on the Intermission mini album. There's that slightly odd kind of, you can tell why it was called Intermission, because it kind of had a whiff of contractual obligation about it, or tour, needing to get a record out for the tour. I don't know what was the impetus behind Intermission. I mean, obviously I like it. I love it because it's got Time to Burn on it. And Time to Burn, again, a bit like Hungry for Heaven, it really is the epitome of the kind of commercial side of Dio. The lyrics are great, again, like Ronnie's vocals and the lyrics. It's just a really powerful song, and actually the studio version of Time to Burn may be produced fairly lightly, but if you listen to that song live as well, you can tell that it's a lot heavier. You know, it's a lot heavier live, and the same actually goes for a lot of the other songs that we're going to hear about in the remainder of this list. We rock. Yes, we rock. We're getting there now. We rock. I mean, of course, who doesn't like We Rock? It's got an amazing riff. It's so good, and it's a great galloping, fist in the air type Dio song. It's hard to say much about We Rock because it really is such a standard in the Dio set, and rightly so. The top 3, we're in the top 3, only 3 more songs to go. Stick with me, we'll get there. Sacred Heart. Yes, I love Sacred Heart, the title track of the 1986 album, I think that was. And I think Sacred Heart might have been the first Dio song I ever heard. It was certainly the first album I ever heard, and it made a real impression on me. I love the epic nature of it, and more than almost any other Dio song, it just paints so many pictures in your brain. There's no better song in metal to listen to while you're playing a fighting fantasy game book or an endless quest game book, for instance. Sacred Heart is so much fun. Again, I don't strictly know what the song's all about, but you know, it's all about dragons and running along rainbows and going on quests, and it's basically Dungeons and Dragons in one song. 2 songs to go. Holy Diver. Of course Holy Diver had to be on this list. How could it not be on this list? I must admit I did have to go back and listen to the Holy Diver track because I hadn't heard it in a while, and some songs just lose their power through sheer familiarity. But when I played Holy Diver, it all came back to me, and of course, you know, I went, of course, you know, that is just one of the absolute ultimate Dio songs. And again, really evocative. God knows what it's all about. I think it's probably a kind of a polemic against religion, I think. The original Holy Diver album cover certainly suggested that the song was pretty strongly anti-religious. So yeah, Holy Diver, Ride the Tiger. Yes! So yeah, I've hit the table again. So, what is the number one Dio track? Now at this point, you're thinking to yourself, it's going to be one track or the other, and I think I know what the two possibilities are, but I'm going to be annoyed either way. Sorry about that. But my number one is Don't Talk to Strangers. Yes, another track I had to go back to listen to because it was always in my head, Don't Talk to Strangers, as my favourite Dio song. But would it still be my favourite Dio song in 2021? Yes, yes. And I think it's because Don't Talk to Strangers is just an absolutely unique piece of work. I think it's fair to say that Ronnie spent his career kind of not recycling, but revisiting certain types of songs, certainly certain lyrical themes, and, you know, kind of revisiting himself a bit as he went along. But he never even tried to write a song like Don't Talk to Strangers again, because it's so unique. The way it starts off with this kind of haunting lullaby vocal and this, like, you know, acoustic guitar, I guess it is, and then the riff comes in and just pulverizes your brain, and it's just so powerful. Ronnie's vocals work alongside Vivian Campbell's guitar on this song like they never did on any other Dio song, I think, especially when it comes to the solo. I think Don't Talk to Strangers has the best Dio guitar solo, and Ronnie's vocals really go in tandem with that and build up to this amazing peak about, you know, 3/4 of the way through the song. Don't Talk to Strangers really is Dio at its very best. So, how much in agreement are you? How much in disagreement are you? I want to hear all about it down there in comments. I would love if you put together your own top 10 or even top 20 Dio song list. I would love to see that, so please do share that with us. And if you subscribe now, you can go around telling people that you were among the very first few subscribers. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I also hope very much to see you for the next one.